to that insurance companies are not competing for your business, really.
Well,
Like
if
insurance was, basically if health insurance was kind of like your car insurance, testing, then it wouldn't cost you as much. And if you carried your policy around with you from job to job to job, then you would have a lot lower rates because insurance companies would be basically vying for your business by lowering and keeping their rates low. But that's not the way it worked out. So anyway, are we ready to play?
I hope so.
We're getting
political.
Well, yeah, but I have a husband that has worked in multiple different types of insurance, and he's pretty much gotten the history of how health insurance kind of got started in the U.S., so it's pretty sad. Anyway.
Mutual of
We're getting a little closer to getting started.
Did he work for Mutual of Omaha?
Actually, no. Nowadays, he works for Berkshire Hathaway Home State Indemnity. And
Berkshire Hathaway.
Well, he actually he's never met Warren Buffett, so don't worry about that. But he actually is an underwriter for part of the insurance company that writes policies for small municipalities and like small townships and stuff like that need to have like their public works or their fire and police departments or sheriff's departments insured.
Liability insurance?
Yeah, it's a number of things. Say what?
It's a big company. I have again, my friend has never met Warren Buffett either, but I have a friend who's like one of the thousands of attorneys that work for that company.
In Omaha?
Not in Omaha, in California. But they've got thousands of attorneys everywhere, so.
Oh, yeah. My husband's in the Omaha office, so yeah, it's, there's been a lot of stuff that's gone on with technology and stuff for his department. His actual department, he's like the only person that works for his department now. But they're slowly getting rid of that book of business. And my husband is transferring over, or will be in time, over to what they call the wholesale insurance, which is basically doing insurance policies on things that are more or less uninsurable, or people don't like to cover insurance on it, like abandoned buildings or old buildings that are empty, that kind of thing. So,
hey, let us
begin.
Well, yeah, I think we're about ready to begin. All right, let me go turn down the music since we're gonna get started playing. All right, come on. There you go. All right, and I will move us to this slate. Okay, welcome everyone, welcome players, welcome stream to a slightly delayed Greyhawk Saturday Night session. I am joined, I think we have a full house here tonight. Let's see, I have Jason as Quint, I have Goonie as Min, I have Casca as Talon, I have Joe as Nico, I have Bob as Archimedes, and I have Garm as Garm. All right. Well, last time on Saturday Night Greyhawk, everyone got to the inn of the Welcome Wench, and most of you sort of met each other and had a chance to talk to each other. And I believe you learned from Gertie the barmaid and Nira the bartender that several members of the village council were looking for adventurers to take care of some problems. And there's a private dining room over in the back in an area conveniently located on your map in Area 3. A private dining room that will where they will be meeting everybody. So, I think they had mentioned that, and it was kind of a nebulous time as to when the village council members would show up, and we would begin with that part of the adventure. But we will say that did anybody need to continue any conversations with each other, or do we want to just sort of advance until the village council folks show up?
Continue to advance until they show up.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Us, whatever.
Okay. All right. So,
Archimedes
Yeah,
will throw a little song out there, though. That's
okay. All right. So Archimedes goes ahead and plays a little ditty. What do you play? Do you play some sort of ballad of a lovely?
To the educated, a violin. To the uneducated, a fiddle.
Oh, okay. Okay. But
Here's a question for you. And what's the difference between the two?
Finger placement.
Oh, really? Okay.
And do you play like a jig or a reel or a ballad or what?
I'll start off with a little bit of a classical thing, and then when everybody starts to bore, I'll join into a fiddle playing, toe tapping kind of deal there.
So you're going
okay.
to start with the fiddle pointed up and you're going to end with it pointed down? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, pretty much.
All right. So there's some entertainment provided by Archimedes, and that let's see. Does Archimedes have? I think he does. I think that was one of the things you took. But do you have like the proficiency, musical instrument proficiency? Yes, you do.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a musical instrument proficiency check. And remember, this is this edition. You're trying to get the target number or below. Okay, so 8, which is indeed equal to or less than 13. So that's a really kind of good performance. You see that some of the locals that are in here, they start clapping their hands and stomping their feet. And there's after a minute, or after a while, you notice that Gertie is circulating with a big platter, and on it she's got a little bowl, a little wooden bowl, And when she goes by tables and she sets out stuff, some people will take a couple of coins, mostly coppers and sometimes a silver, and they'll drop it into that little bowl. And then as she winds up going through her circuit in the room, she will eventually come over and she'll set the bowl down next to Archimedes. And so there's a little bit of coin in there. And what Archimedes has come up with is he's come up with 5 silver and 35 copper from the folks in the room. And so some time passes while that goes on, and after a bit, the door opens, and walking through the door, you see 3 people. One is a dwarf, and the 2 others are humans. One is a human that looks like a... let me get a description of this guy here, because I think he's got an actual description in this adventure. Okay, so... alright. So then we're gonna go... Okay.
And
All
Gertie
right.
I would give
Okay.
Gertie 1 silver and 5 copper pieces out of that. They get their little
Oh,
cut.
okay. All
So-
right. Okay. The younger man is very tall, kind of blonde, and he's quite muscular. But he looks like a typical village person. He might be a farmer, he might be like a blacksmith's apprentice, but he's broad of shoulder and thickly muscled in his arms and whatnot. The other human is a man who has a slightly darker complexion, darker hair, and he looks like he spends a lot of time out of doors. And in fact, Quint, as you look at him, you sort of the way he carries himself and the way he just sort of seems to assess everything that's going on in the inn as he walks through the door, you wouldn't be surprised if you learned he was a fellow ranger. And then in between the 2 of them is a dwarf. And this is an older dwarf, Nico. It's a fellow, his hair and beard have all gone white, and he walks with a little bit of a limp. He has broad shoulders and a belly that is clearly been conditioned to hold a lot of dwarven ale. And he's got kind of a smile on his face, between and like he's just finished telling a joke or something like that. The other 2 humans, they look a little more grim, or they look like, yeah, we've heard that joke a lot, so many times before. And they look in, and Nira gives them a wave and says, gentlemen, hello. You'll have some guests at the dining room tonight. There are some folk here who would be interested in learning what the council has available. And the younger man, the younger blonde man, he looks and nods at Nira, and his eyes kind of scan and sort of rest on you guys, taking in your armor and weapons, and then he will walk over towards the table where most of you are seated, and he will say, "Oh, hello, folks. My name is Elmo. One of the members of the Village Council. These here are Macheath, our dwarven member of our Village Council, and Zert, who is a member of the council that lives outside the village in the far lands. Zert has got a report for us that I think might be interesting for anyone that wants to help us out with some of the issues we've been having. We will talk about the troubles, and we'll discuss some terms of payment if y'all are interested."
That is good. I like
Well,
that.
well, good, ma'am. We here, we're not a really wealthy village, but we got some resources. We're gonna head on back to the private dining room. Gertie will be bringing us some food, so if y'all wanna come on and mosey on with us, we will head back there. So he makes his way back to this dining room, and so do Zert and Mac. And then, actually, let's do this. Let's go put him there, and we'll put you there. So then you guys can go ahead and bring your tokens on in there. These are 5-foot squares in this room. So it's a bit cozy with everybody in there, but everyone can fit without too much trouble. And the table is a little bit larger than it appears, so everyone can sit around the table. And Gertie will come in, and she'll get everyone's order for the meal. And let's see, what is the so there's a they're going to have, by arrangement, the plain supper, which will consist of a either roast of beef or roast of chicken, and there are some spring vegetables, some potatoes, and some gravy to go with that. There's also a loaf of fresh baked bread and fresh butter, and then there's water that is provided with the meal. And for your meal and the water, because you all are sort of listening to their pitch about the opportunity for adventure, the village council will pay for that much. But if you want any harder drink, like any wine or mead or beer or ale, that's going to be extra. So, and they do have a regular ale, a special ale. They have a small beer, a heavy beer, They have a regular mead, a special mead, and they have several different kinds of wine, which are sold by the pint. And then you can buy the entire bottle, which is a little bit more. So you guys can go ahead and it's if you have a glass of something, the only thing that's like really super expensive are a couple of the wines. There's a wine. There are wines that range from 1 EP per pint up to 1 platinum per pint. So you can spend a lot of money on wine if you want to, but otherwise,
if she comes in, can I get some milk, please?
You want
some
a
milk?
saucer?
I can scratch you, you know.
And
I can scratch back.
Gertie will say, "Oh yes, we can bring you some milk."
Make it 2. One for me.
Okay, another milk. All right. Anyone else for anything other than water?
Just your simplest fine wine would be fine.
Ah, okay. Well, I can bring you a pint of the table wine for 1 EP or 1 electrum. That will suffice.
Trudeau
And
nods and asks for an ale for himself and 1 for his the elder dwarf.
okay, you want the special ale?
Yes, please. 2 of those.
Okay, so that's 1 electrum each, so 2 electrum. And Mac, he looks at you and he says, "Ha ha ha ha! Oh, thank you, my boy."
What's the conversion for gold to electrum? I don't see that on the chart. It's skipped.
Dude.
2 electrum to the gold.
Yeah, 2 electrum to the gold, I believe.
Okay, so that would be 1 gold then for 2 drinks.
Yeah.
That was all right, thank
you. Yeah, so yeah, electrum. Electrum is half of a gold piece, so it's 50 copper, 5 silver, and 1/10 of a platinum. So, because in this edition of the game, it's 5 gold to a platinum. Instead of most editions, it's 10 gold to a platinum. All right. So you guys start having your meal, and the food is well cooked, very tasty. There's a little bit of small talk. Zert, Mac, and Elmo will sort of ask you each about yourselves, and you guys all did character introductions last week, so we don't need to go through that again. We'll just say you kind of basically. Well, the only thing I'll say is, would any of you tell them something different than what you told the other party members? That would be the only reason that any of you might want to provide a different introduction for your character at this point.
I have the brain of a goldfish. I can't remember what I told people last week.
You just basically told them a little bit about where Min came from. Let's see, what do we have here?
Okay, I just wasn't quite sure. I didn't think I elaborated really that much.
No, you didn't. It was fairly simple. I don't think anybody went into, like a whole lot of detail about their life story, because we kind of said that I think everybody basically told them what they look like, what their profession, if you will, was, what their specialty was, and so that's probably kind of good enough for these folks. Unless there was something special you would want to tell them or something you would want to leave out of telling them, that would be the only reason to.
Okay. She curls up in her chair, basically kind of makes herself a little smaller, so to speak, wraps her tail around her feet, and then leans against Talon slightly and kind of lets out this slight purr.
What is with cats and wanting to hug on me?
What, are you disapproving?
This has got one of those faces that it's
those
those
things that he doesn't
those
like.
boyish looks.
He doesn't like cats, and so cats are attracted to him automatically.
I'm allergic to cats.
Out of character, in character.
Out of character, I'm allergic. In real life, I'm allergic to cats, and cats like to come and rub on me, and I'm like,
we know what you like.
I think what it is they realize no other cat has put their scent on you, so it's like, oh, okay, this is going to be my servant, so I'm going to mark this one.
Yeah, it doesn't work that
way. All right. So with that, they will go ahead and they will get down to business. They will say, "Oh, well, we put out a word. Through messengers that traveled as far as Verbabank to the west and as far as Greyhawk to the east, that we've been having some trouble with bandits in these parts. In particular, we think we have, or I should say, Zert believes that he has located where the bandits are operating from." And Zert looks around at everybody and nods and says, "Oh, yes. I've been out in the woods, and I believe I have tracked the activity of the bandits to the old abandoned Moat house. The Moat house sits out in a marshy area several miles away from town. It was the source of some trouble some decades ago, and the folk of the village here in Hommlet, as well as the village of Nulb, farther to the west, they came together and they drove out those who were in the Moat house, killed everyone who did not leave the Moat house, and it has pretty much lain abandoned ever since then. We are not the type of folk that want to go poking around in places that, where we don't feel like it's our territory, and that just happens to be out far enough away from Nulb and far enough away from Hommlet that it sort of sits in its own no man's land, if you will. But we believe that bandits are now operating from it and using the old place as sort of a base or hideout. And so that's brought to mind a couple of things that we would like to do. The first thing we would like to do is we would like to have someone go and scout the old place, verify if indeed there are bandits there, determine the numbers of bandits that there are, and if the force is too large, bring that information back to us. We can then work with our allies in Nulb, and perhaps as far away as Verpabunk, to raise a militia to go and deal with them. The second thing we would like to do is I would like to find someone to occupy that moat house after it's been dealt with. Our thinking is this. If a sufficiently capable and organized and strong group of adventurers were to come and successfully clear out the moat house, we would be very much inclined to consider them strongly as candidates for becoming the new lords of that moat house, if you will. And McKeith puts down his mug and he says, "Yes, that's right. You all have stumbled into a potential very lucrative opportunity. You could not only..." Yes, indeed, my feline friend. Sort of rubs his eyes a little bit like he's not quite sure what he's seeing. When he looks at Min, says,
She kind of grins and waggles her claws at him.
and then he looks at his ale, and he shrugs and he takes another gulp of his ale, and then he says, "Yes, you could win the approval and the adoration and a bit of coin from the village council here in Hommlet, but you could also find yourselves the owners of a deed to a small fortification. Now, I'm not going to lie, it's a real fixer-upper. Will require..."
Is it haunted?
"Oh, Zert? Is it haunted?" Well, I've not seen any evidence that there are any non-living or unliving or undead, if you want to call it that, creatures that are there in the moat house, but I have seen bandits come in and out, and over the years I have tracked large monster tracks in and out of that place. Large lizards, large snakes, that type of thing. You know, it's an abandoned building out in the middle of a swamp, so it's liable to attract anything that can use it as shelter. Who knows what will be? Who knows what will meet you there?
You're offering the deed to ruins in a swamp.
We could do that. That would be fun.
And Elmo says, "Well, we're offering the deeds to the ruined moat house, true, but it's also an ideal location between Nulb and Hommlet. If that moat house were to be somewhat refurbished, even minimally, to the point that it could be cleaned of any vermin and bandits, and then travelers who are going between Nulb and Hommlet might be able to use it as a way stop. That might earn the people who hold the deed to it some coin, which could help in refurbishing. And we also can offer some gold, not a lot of gold, mind you, because we are a rather small village. But if you can get the trade back to the normal level, that would be most welcome. And I think you could look for a little bit of an extra bonus. And
How about a percentage of what you're getting from trade? Because right now it's being interrupted, and you're basically giving us the permission to do something we could do on our own and hold it. In fact, if you're offering us a deed to admit anything, then you wouldn't need us in the first place.
And Elmo looks and he smiles a little bit, and he looks over at Mac, and Mac says, "Haha, he's got the rights of it there." And Elmo says, "Yes. Well, let me enumerate what the council has authorized for payment." And he says, "If you are able to go and get us accurate information on the numbers and strength of any forces that hold the ruins of the Moat House currently, we could give each of you 100 gold pieces. If you're able to go and clear out the Moat House and free it of bandits, we would be able to offer you the sum of 250 gold pieces each. And if you are able to do all of that, and you manage to bring back any of the bandits alive, so that they can be questioned and we can understand more about who sent them, what, if there's any kind of larger force that they're operating with, those sorts of things, then that would be worth 500 gold pieces to each of you. So does this make it seem like this errand might be something more appealing to you? And of course, in the case of you clearing out the Moat House yourself, whether you are able to bring any prisoners for questioning or not, that would also include having the deed to the place.
Oh, sounds like an adventure. Did you ever talk to my caravan master? We took a bandit prisoner on our way here, and they said that they were going to retreat to meet up with some of their ilk.
Well, I will have to discuss with the town master to see if he has questioned that prisoner. Maybe that you have already earned a little bit of coin. Zert, I would recommend that you come with me when I go to the town master. It would probably help if you are there when this prisoner is questioned. And Zert says, "Yes, sounds like a good idea." And Meki says, "Well, it sounds like at least some of these folk are interested in the job. What say the rest of you?"
I wanna.
Hey? And then he looks over at Garm as if wanting to see what Garm would say.
It sounds promising. I would have preferred a percentage, but I guess this will do.
And Elmo says, I can take your counter offer of a percentage to the village council. We can see whether or not something like that can be arranged. And then he looks at Archimedes.
Archimedes.
Bob, are you there?
The ghost got him.
Yeah.
Probably went off AFK for a minute.
Oh,
Maybe,
he's typing.
He's
yeah.
typing.
Okay, well, while he's typing, we'll look to Nico.
Oh, he's got to adjust volume.
He looks to Nico to see what Nico would say.
Nico said and what is like, it's exciting. And if you need someone to heal the prisoner when you interrogate him, I can come too.
And Elmo sort of raises an eyebrow and says, I don't think it will come to that. We are not in the habit of using extreme measures in our questioning. Most of the time we find that if you start threatening people, they will tell you what they think you want to know, regardless of how much truth there is in it. And he says, but if the prisoner is injured, then we do have folk from the temple that can help. And if you are interested, you can come as well. And then they look finally at Quint to see what Quint would say.
And he'll go along. He wants to make sure they're not upsetting the natural order of balance in the area. So he wants to go and make sure everything's all right along that line.
Okay. And then Archimedes is in as well. Okay, good. And Max says, Splendid. Well, I think that this calls for a round of drinks, don't you? And Elmo and Zert, they nod, and so after a bit, Gertie comes back in, and Max says, Gertie, lass, bring everyone a cup of ale on me, on my tab.
Can I have milk?
And Gertie says, "Oh, yes, we can bring you some milk. Is everybody else okay with an ale?"
Nay. Water, please.
And so she nods, and she says, "All right then. 2 and 4, so 6 ales, a milk, and a water. Wonderful." And so off she goes, and they, or I guess it's 7 ales, a milk, and a water. So she'll come back and bring those drinks, and while she's gone, Macheath will say, "Speaking of the temple, I thought that I thought that Tuck was going to join us tonight. And Elmo says, "Oh yes, got a message from the temple that Brother Tuck was delayed. Some business with a ritual they had to do, and he said he would try to come along later if he could make it." And about that time that they mentioned that, the door of the dining room opens, and standing in the doorway, you see a cleric, and he walks in, and he has a small satchel. He goes over and he sits down, and Zert and Mac and Elmo all give a wave to him, and they say, "Well, we're in luck, Brother Tuck. These folk have accepted our offer to go and look into the matter of the old Moat house." And Tuck said, "Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Well, the head priest had us performing a ritual this evening, and I talked to him, and he allowed us how he would like the temple to be in league with the village council in terms of helping to solve the problems of the village. So I have brought a number of, let's see, how many of there are you? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of you. Do I have enough?" And he starts rummaging in his satchel, and he says, "Oh, yes, okay, good. We have enough here." And he begins pulling out little vials, and he takes 2 vials and he passes them to Zert and asks them to pass them to Garm, and then he takes 2 vials and gives them to each of the rest of you, Talon and Min and Quint and Nico and Archimedes. And what he is giving you is potions of healing. And so let's just double check magic items. Where's the magic items? Okay, magic items. Okay, scrolls and potions. Here's the potions. The potion of... Okay, where are they? Come on. All right, where's the list of potions? Come on. Come on. Everything in here. Okay. Oh, okay. Is that really the case in this edition? Okay, it looks like this stupid thing is not very, this item is not very helpful. This index is not very helpful. Potion. Oh, anyone 144. Let's go to No, 191. Ah, there we go. Potions. Aha. List of potions. Oh, which is not really a list. It's a table. So where's the healing? Healing. Okay. Healing does 2d4 plus 2. It restores 2d4 plus 2 points of damage. And the potion of healing is it's a cherry red transparent liquid. So you can put down on your character sheet that you have 2 potions of healing each, and that 2d4 plus 2, and you have to drink the entire potion in a single round. If you drink any less than that, it has no effect.
Are these general items, or because they're from the temple, are they considered clerical items?
They are, potions of healing have to be created by clerics. There are some magic items that have to be created by wizards, and some that have to be created by clerics. And
The only
potions
reason
of
I
healing.
ask is I have a 20% chance of anything magical. Well, not anything. There's a list of things magical that fail, but clerical items are exempt. So that's why I'm wondering if it is or
Oh,
isn't.
okay. Yeah. It's a clerical item.
What's the amount of healing?
2d4 plus 2 points
you.
of damage. Yeah, so let me put that in the Discord. Okay, potion of healing into 2d4. Whoops, 2d4 plus 2 HP restored. They do have an extra healing in this edition, but for right now, the only potion that the church has access to here is a regular potion of healing. So, with that bit of business done, Elmo allows us how the village council will talk with the village elder tonight. They will question the prisoner tonight, and then Zert is going to turn in, and he will be ready at first light to lead you all out towards the old Moat house. So you can, and he will meet you here at the inn in the morning. So any of you that want to go and have any involvement with the questioning or be present when they question the prisoner, you can do that. Otherwise, you kind of are free to do anything. There's some places in town that'll probably be open for like another hour or so after dark that you can go and do business with or whatever. Or you can just turn in and get ready for the next dawn. So, does anybody have anything in particular they want to do?
I just want to get a room, a private room. I think you said they were gold.
Yes, the private rooms here are the cheapest private room is actually 5 EP per night, and then there's another private room, and every private room in this thing is a different cost. Actually, there's two private rooms for 5 EP per night. There's another private room for 2 gold per night. There's a private suite for 5 gold per night. There is another private room for 1 gold per night. And
I'll take that one. I'll take the 1 gold.
yeah, okay, the 1 gold. And then there is a dormitory area that that costs 1 silver. And you have they'll give you a pallet in that room. And in the morning, there's a table in the center of the room that is loaded with hot tea and fresh loaves, and there's no extra charge for that.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay.
I'll take a room that's 2 gold.
Okay, so 2 gold.
Yeah.
Anybody else for a private room or the dormitory sleeping area?
I got a room before, but I don't remember exactly what kind it was. I think it was a private room, but I don't remember.
Okay, so mark off either 1 electrum, 2 gold, or 1 electrum, 1 gold, or 5 gold, because the 2 gold room is taken.
Okay.
All right. So, if there's nothing else that anybody is interested in doing this evening,
I asked about if the opportunity to sell the damaged chainmail and scrap metal from the breastplate, and potential to buy a shield and or regular chainmail.
Yes. Okay.
Potentially sell my leather armor for or trade it in towards the cost of that chainmail.
Okay. All right. Then let's go to the. Let's go. I need to go to the map of the town. And I need to verify which business is which. Okay, so.
And if there's a general store I could swing by if they have a healer's kit or a healer's pouch or whatever it is.
Yes, there is one of those.
I'm going to tag along with him.
Okay.
I start rambling again about Freya, the woman I was betrothed to, although her parents didn't quite approve, and how like she was smart and she was strong. And you probably tell me I ramble too much again.
Okay. They will. Here, I will move the map over here to show you where you guys are going. Okay, you're coming out of area. You're coming out of area 7 now, and the which is right here, and then the trading post is up the street and across the little stream over here. So As you notice, there's no bridges across the stream. It's just a very shallow ford. So, it's like the water in this stream normally is maybe a foot or at the most 2 deep. Except in these pools, it might get to be like 5 or 6 feet deep, deep enough to swim in. But at this ford here, it's only like ankle deep, so just an inch or 2 deep. So you guys can go ahead and cross over that and go to the trading post. And as you get there, you walk in.
The way when they come up to the water, she kind of looks over at her traveling companion and is kind of like, "Can I catch a ride? I don't want to get my feet wet."
I look at your feet and I'm like, we're gonna go into something called a swamp, and they said a moat house, and there's usually a moat in a moat house. And if I read books, I haven't seen a moat, but the books told me that a moat has a lot of like stinky water. But yes, I can help you across. But we might want to look for boots for you just to make sure you don't have to get your feet wet.
All right.
But I'll help you across this time.
Oh, fine. She's thinking, damn it.
I won't tell anyone you were upset. I don't like wearing shoes either.
Prissy boots.
All right. So as you walk in, there are a couple of people inside. One is clearly the shopkeeper, and another one is sort of a stock boy that is straightening some items on a shelf or whatever. And the gentleman behind the counter is a human, and he puts on a winning smile, and he says, "Oh, hello there, folks. Name is Carlton Hines. This is the trading post. How can I help you folks today?"
He says I need boots.
Good evening, sir. We're about to do some help for the town. The council just asked us to look into some stuff nearby, and this fine person right here needs a pair of boots that'll help keep her feet dry. And I was looking to see if you might be taking in trade some damaged chainmail, some scrap metal from a breastplate, and potentially some studded leather armor. I'm looking for a healer's kit or a healer's pouch, or satchel. I forget the terms hereabouts. I come from far away in the dwarven holds, and also looking for a chainmail and potentially a shield of some such.
And he says, "Well, I think we might be able to handle all of that. Let us take a look here." And he rummages around, and says, "Let's first take a look at your oh gosh, what am I trying to say? Your damaged goods that you would like to trade in, and the scrap metal. Let's see what sort of credit you might have."
I also just sent you a
that.
message, just so I had a question about something, but I sent it to you in chat.
Okay.
It just matters how many days it was, I think.
Yeah, I think what is like 2 gold per day. Is that
No,
what they
you said
told
one.
you?
You said one.
Okay, 1 gold per day. So then I think it was a total of 4 days.
Okay.
So 4 GP. Okay.
And as he's looking at the metal and stuff, I chat him up because I am a weaponsmith and an armor smith, and try to start making some friends with him so that I can like have a rapport with him, or maybe an introduction to the blacksmith when in the future I want to have the ability to rent out or be allowed to help out or get some work with him or her.
Okay.
Meanwhile, she just kind of's like bored. But she'll be patient. She's a cat. She can be patient.
So, meaning that just the tail is just sort of slapping the floor.
Oh, just kind of a languid back and forth, kind of anticipating pouncing on something.
There's a stock boy you could totally ask questions to.
Mm.
All right.
She's just hanging around to listen.
So what kind of armor is it that was rusted that we said? It was chainmail.
And the shattered one was the breastplate.
Okay, breastplate.
But you said that one was shattered beyond repair, and it was just scrap metal.
Yeah, scrap metal. All right. So, the chainmail, he will look at that and he'll say, "Ooh, yes, gonna need some repair work." And he calls to the back, and he says, "Dylan, come up here. Help me take a look at this armor." And so another kind of gruff-looking person comes from the back of the shop and comes out, and they look at that, and the guy points out where it's rusted. Gonna need to have some new links reforged. That's going to cost us some money. Yeah, I know. But what do you think?
It's just a couple hours work. I'd be happy to do it under your supervision and pay you for your time. I trained in the forges in the hold.
Oh, well, we don't have the forges here. We will have to send this over to the village blacksmith to get done. Is the blacksmith still open tonight? Oh, he might be open a little bit. We may be able to get an idea for you tonight, but probably we would take it over in the morning along with the other stuff that we have to be repaired. So you could talk to him tonight yourself if you think you have the skill to do the job. But
I'll save everyone time. I trust you to give me a fair price, and I can look into repairing armor another day.
Oh, very well, very well. Well, I think this would be worth about 25 gold to us. And let's see, you have some scrap metal there. That'd be worth another. That does have some ornamental metalwork on it. Might be able to do something with that. We'll say another 10 gold for that. So 35 gold. And then did you say something about some studded leather armor?
Yeah, what I'm wearing right now, I'd love to be able to trade it in towards the cost of some new chain.
Oh, of course. And they come around from the desk and they look at it, and they check several of the points that you would expect to be checked, like the leather straps, and then some of the pieces where the armor normally takes the most damage, and they see that it's in pretty good condition, and they say, yeah, we could give you another 10 gold for that.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, do you happen to have any shields in stock, the chainmail in stock? And I'd love to buy my friend here. I don't see that she seems to be carrying a purse. Happy to buy her some boots and maybe some waterproof socks.
Ooh.
A little bit of money. I can pay.
Oh, great! I didn't see you had a bag. I wasn't sure.
I hide it in my fur. Ladies never show their fur.
For sure.
Uh-huh.
Okay, in this edition of D&D, there are several kinds of shields. There's a body shield. There is a buckler, which is basically just something that you wear on your wrist, and it's a rather small shield. Then there's a medium-sized shield, and then there's what they consider a small shield, which is between the size of a buckler and a medium shield. And of course, they all have different prices.
I've got a lot of military training, so I'm gonna want the body shield plus the chainmail.
Okay, the body shield and the chain mail. So here, they will. Okay, the body shield will.
I'm also willing to go with the splint mail if they've got splint mail, because I think they're roughly the same price, just a couple gold different.
They will charge you 11 gold for a body shield, or they will ask 11 gold for a body shield. And then there is, okay, then in terms of the armor that they have, that and that. So let me see what they actually have in stock. This actually gives me percentages here. So they don't have that. Then, well, they do have that. Okay, and then they do have that. Okay, so they have. Oh, they have scale mail, and they have chain mail, and then I need to check on the banded mail. Nope, they don't have any banded mail.
What about the splint mail? I can only really afford, like, I know, because I've worked in an MMA before. I know that the chain mail and the splint mail are on the lower end of the cost. Is there any of the splint mail?
No, they don't. They don't have. They don't have any splint mail.
Well,
available.
Then I'll ask him if since I'm helping out with the town, and this is specifically to go deal with some bandits here about, and I'm sure you get your supplies from merchants passing through and under threat of the bandits. Is there any way you can give me a friends and family discount? And I'll take the chainmail, the body shield, and if you happen to have a healer's pack or a healer's pouch, I don't know what you call it hereabouts, but a healer's kit of some sort, bandages and whatnot, I'd be much obliged.
Okay, let's see. The cost they have, they would have the. I want to just double check what it's called in this edition. They would have the sort of healer's kit thing. Let's see. This one is. Well, Well,
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that in this edition. They started in 3.5. The Heroes
They
kit
have
stuff.
something like it in the Arms and Armory or Arms and Equipment one.
okay.
I put it on my original list, but then I had a different amount of money, so I had to delete it.
Okay. Let's go here. And what was the source book you said you found it in?
The Arms and Equipment one, whatever that one is. Arms
The
and
blue
Arm.
one, the Arms
Which
and
is
Equipment. Yeah, the blue. It's the blue. It's one of the GM kit books. Arms and Equipment. That's the same one that the Baltic Bandolier is in.
Okay. All right, here it is. Let's take a look.
3 gold for leeching or bleeding. That's awesome.
We got a flexible leeches in the front, and that's money right there.
What they will charge, or what they will ask, I should say, for the chainmail. They say, "Oh, working for the village council, eh?"
Lothar. She gives this big toothy grin.
Well, I suppose we could, in that case, if you're working for the village council, we could give you a discount. It'll be 95 gold for the chainmail.
Her eyes kind of go big. Like, oh, wow.
And if any of you have any kind of proficiencies you think you might want to use, you can go ahead and use them.
Would an armor smith know more accurately the value of the armor in the shield?
Very likely would. You could probably make an intelligence check, and if you roll under your intelligence, you would know basically what the price should be.
Should I roll a d20 for that?
Yeah, you can roll a d20 for that. So let's see, what is your 16, and what was your intelligence?
15. So that's over my intelligence.
Yeah, that sounds a little high to you, but you also think, well, okay, this is sort of a village out of the way. It might be that the materials are harder.
And I'm fresh off the hold. I'm a young dwarf who doesn't really know the world up here, so sounds kind of reasonable.
Yeah. So let's see.
I do the math kind of well. You see me looking at my fingers and my toes, and then looking at my toes again and like trying to figure out. Then carry the 1, and I do the math again. And I'm like, I never mind about the healer's kit. I can't afford it all. I'll take the body shield and the armor. Hold on. Nope, can't do that either. Do you have a cheaper shield?
Yes. In fact, we do. We have the buckler for 2 gold. We have a medium shield for 9 gold, and we have a small shield for 4 gold.
Then I'll take the small shield. I can't. I keep trying to do the math and it doesn't work out. Unless you're willing to make a deal with me and give me the chainmail and the tower shield for 100 and how much do I have? I take out my entire purse.
Can I
Go ahead.
See no, I was just gonna see if I knew something, but I don't know.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you could either do an intelligence check, or depending on what your proficiencies
Yeah, I'm gonna have
are,
to
you
do
could.
an intelligence. All right.
Okay. Oh, yeah. You look at the guy behind the counter. You look at the dwarf. You look at the guy behind the counter. You look at the dwarf, and you realize the guy behind the counter is just basically gouging this guy.
Before he goes any farther, what's he gouging him on? Everything?
The shields are a little bit more expensive than they should be. The armor, he told him he was giving a discount. You can buy chainmail armor in other cities for 75 gold, and he's telling him he can sell it for a discount at 95 gold.
He needs a keeper.
And you see me taking out my entire purse.
And about this point in time, her clawed hand comes down over his coin purse, and she kind of like just holds it there, and she kind of looks over at him and goes, "Just a minute." And then she looks back at the shopkeeper and go, "You are trying to scam him. I haven't been a lot of places, but at least the places I've been, I know that you can get chainmail. Is it chainmail? Chainmail?
Yeah, that's what he's looking at.
Chainmail, cheaper. And for that kind of thing, metal thing, shield, shield they call it. I know that they get them cheaper in a big city. And I even know that just because you're in the backwoods doesn't mean you can fleece him for all his gold. And about that time, she flexes her claws and kind of taps one nail on the countertop.
Okay. What proficiencies does Min have that might come in handy here?
The fact that she's from the north.
Okay, so I was just looking at, does she have any kind of intimidation or anything like that? Okay, or bluff or whatever. No.
Nope. She's got weather sense, direction sense, astrology, and navigation.
Okay.
She can find her way out of a wet paper bag.
But Min does have, and this is sort of thinking outside the box. But Min hasn't put anything in her. Oh, maybe she has. Yes, she has. Okay. Min does have the capability to do magic.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at your spell list, is there anything you think might be helpful here?
Color spray.
Color spray might be helpful. Now, can you do that in such a way that it would avoid you maybe having a trip to the pokey if you hurt or kill somebody accidentally?
Well, I could also kind of use the sleep spell too, where I can kind of. Well, but then that would make him fall asleep. So.
Yeah, let's take a look and see what the color spray spell does. Spell descriptions. Okay.
With one instance, creatures within the area are affected or increasing distance from.
Yeah.
Well, what I was thinking was basically if I could control it enough to just, instead of like folding my hand outward and showing the colors, I just kind of like ball up my hand a little bit, over the top of the counter, nails down, and kind of release a little bit of the color.
Yeah, you could. I would let you do that sort of as sort of make a demonstration of it.
Yeah.
And where you could basically say, because the normal effect of this spell is to knock people unconscious, and the otherwise there's a saving throw, but you could, like basically cast a
Muted version of it.
muted version where it'll just show some colors, and like as you're sort of telling him what
Yeah.
these colors come up and just sort of maybe dazzle him a little bit instead of knocking him unconscious. Okay. All right. Well,
Okay.
I will, let's see. Okay. He doesn't have 6 hit dice, so he's not entitled to a saving throw against this spell. So he is he just, as you tell him that, and well, describe what your color spray looks like.
So
It's
she's
your
got
spell.
her hand upside down instead of her hand upright and splayed out. So she's got her hand almost like cage like on top of the counter, and she's moved it, of course, off of the man's her cohort's pile of coins just in case, and she kind of lets the colors start to mutely play underneath her hand, kind of letting them escape out between her fingers a little bit to cast shadows across the top of the countertop. And she's like, are you truly going to do that when we can be helping you to be able to get more of your stuff through instead of the bandits taking it?
And when you, after you finish speaking, you look up, you can see that the color has sort of drained from the faces of the 2 guys behind the counter, and the stock boy over there, he just sort of has his arms up in front of his face, like he's trying to protect himself from something. And the man who's been doing the speaking, he kind of swallows hard and he says, oh no, ma'am. Oh no, I think what I meant to say is I meant to say that that you can have the chainmail for 70 gold. And if you still want that body shield, you can have it for I think maybe 8 gold would be fair. And then you were talking about getting some boots. I think we can just throw in some boots along with
No,
that.
I
since
don't.
you're-
I don't expect to fleece you for your goods. However, I do expect you to give us a fair deal, as if you would give a fair deal to someone close to you. You would not bother to scam them, would you? You would not want
Hey.
them mad.
Hey, wait a minute. Does this mean that the 22 gold for the chainmail that's damaged was like? Wait a minute.
Oh, yeah. I think actually we can probably offer you 30 gold for that chainmail. And if you're still interested in turning in your studded leather, that would actually be 10 gold. And out of character, you know that merchants will give you 50% of what you would pay them for items when you sell it back to them. And men, that studded leather does cost 20 gold. So saying 10 gold, that is the fair price that you would get from.
And she kind of, when she hears that, she kind of gives a nod. Sounds fair.
And then as for the boots, he'll ask you if you need riding boots or if you need soft boots.
And then this is where she looks to her friend like, I don't know.
Soft boots are more comfortable. Riding boots are if we had to use horses.
Horses.
Yeah.
But-
So,
So she's like, soft boots. That I don't expect them to be 100% waterproof, but something that might stand up to a little water.
oh yes, these soft boots. If you go wading in the water for an extended period of time, they will get damp. But if you just like walk through a shallow stream or step in a puddle or something, that will keep your feet dry. And that those will be 9 silver.
I can do that. And so she just automatically pulls out 9 silver.
Okay. And then okay, that one is open now.
She seems to pull 9 silver out of somewhere.
Okay, and the arms and equipment guide.
So how much was it for the studded leather?
10 gold and credit for the studded leather. Oh, that's adventuring gear. And let's see. Healing kit. What did you find it called in this one?
It was a healer's something or other. Healer's pouch, or I don't have the book with me anymore.
Okay.
Healer's. It was a healer's pouch or healer's satchel. So it started with healer.
Okay, because I'm looking at the
It's not
arms and equipment.
It only gave a small improvement on like making some healing rolls, but it won't be a big deal.
Yeah, I'm mainly
Small
trying to
town.
find out what the fair price for it would be, because I have
Small
no
town, they might
idea.
not have it, and maybe the temple would be the only place to find something like that.
Yeah, okay. That probably is the case. All right.
So just so I'm writing down the right amounts, I'm getting 30 for the chain sail for trade, the 10 for the studded leather, and how much was the breastplate? Because I just lost track with doing the math.
Oh, the breastplate, that because it's scrap metal, that's 5 gold.
5, okay.
Yeah.
And then I'll take the body shield, the chain mail, and I'll pay for the boots. Even though like she's offering the money, I'll just put the money in and already pay for it. How much were they?
It hisses at him a little.
9 silver for the boots. So 1 extra gold would cover it.
I'm like, you saved me tons of money. I owe you, so thank you.
The healer's bag is 6 gold pieces in the arms and equipment book.
Okay, all right. I must be looking at a different edition.
It's on page 113.
Let me see if that. Okay, no, in this book. Oh, the one I have is a D20 arms and equipment guide, which that's probably for a different. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. All right. I thought that was second edition resource. All right. Then that's why I couldn't find it. So 6 gold, and let me just see what the trade goods. Oh, okay. Yeah, he'll actually sell that to you for 5 gold.
Okay, I'll take it all then. Thank you.
Yeah.
And it's called the healer's bag?
Yeah, healer's bag.
Okay, thank you.
It's got 30 rolled bandages, 20 feet of rolled gauze, tiny metal mixing bowl, ceramic mortar and pestle, and 10 jars of various herbs that can be crushed and mixed with water to form a paste to be applied to wounds. It also includes 3 curved needles and a spool of white or black silk thread 50 feet. And it gives you a +1 bonus to your chance of successfully healing a victim. I can copy all that and put it in the chat if you want.
I have access to the PDF. I'll go grab it. I just don't have it right here in front of me.
Well, I was thinking if
go ahead and put it in a PM to me, and I will. Then that way I can put it into my notes from this session, or put it into the list of other things. Yeah, as you guys might be starting to imagine, this guy has different prices for adventurers and townsfolk. So.
Sounds like
typical
every
downtown
guy I've ever dealt with.
It's a typical downtown pricing.
Yeah, exactly.
But you guys, you guys could have bought directly from the blacksmith.
There is that too.
You didn't have to tax it. That's what I'm saying. Cast and colors for spray seems kind of extreme.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Then did somebody else? I'm trying to look at the PMs that I got.
I put it in the.
Okay. I also thank you for that. And then Bob had a question in a PM. Okay, so okay. So
for a private room cost 2 gold, you said, per night?
There's 3 levels of private room there, or actually 4 levels. There's the 1 EP, the 1 gold, the 2 gold, but actually the halfling has that one. So there's a 1 gold, and then there's a 5 gold. So
take a 1 gold.
Okay.
Gold private room, and
1 gold.
I'll show her the 1 gold necklace or whatever, and if I can't bargain a 4 days stay or whatever, they get a full ride going here.
Okay.
Room service, whole ship, bottle of wine,
Okay.
caviar.
Ow.
Okay, so for
Maybe the butler to come in, on about 5 o'clock and fluff.
Fluff what?
Okay, so the
display the gold chain over the forearm.
Yeah.
And gesture across it, shine.
Okay, she looks at it, and then she will talk to the bartender, who apparently is also sort of the innkeeper, and they will sort of discuss and look at that, and they will say, well, yes, the 3 meals a day for the standard meals, I'm thinking, or would you like the elaborate meals?
Oh, an elaborate meal.
Okay, well,
maybe just for 1 day, though. For 1 day, just to impress the other.
Oh, all right. Well, that would be, and then that's, and then you say a bottle of wine each day. So that's a total of that. Yeah, so So for that chain, I suppose we could put you up for maybe 5 days and call it a fair bargain.
Sure, I toss him the
And it would include the meals and a complimentary bottle of wine each day.
dice.
Okay. All right. So they will, and that is going to be a bottle of the Ernst white wine that you'll get each day.
I'll have
So,
chicken.
okay. So I just put that message back in there.
Talon is
for
like
you.
sitting right next to the fireplace, just all wrapped up in his cloak, just shivering
Why are you shivering?
because I'm cold.
And Gertie will notice you after a bit and will come over and say, "Sir, can I bring you some hot tea or some hot cocoa?"
Oh, yes, tea would be great. Thank you.
Oh, wonderful. Are you feeling well?
Yeah,
We do have the temple.
it's just always cold here. I don't
And,
think it ever
you know,
warms up.
And as you look at her, you can see that she's kind of damp with perspiration. Of course, she's working and wearing kind of a full length outfit. Kind of imagine sort of a Victorian in something that's probably peasant-like garb, but Victorian full-length dress and full-length undergarment as well, all made of wool. And she's scurrying about in this inn, and now she's standing right next to the fireplace. So, there's a couple of wisps of hair that are sort of out of place, and beads of sweat on her face, or beads of perspiration on her face. She's just close, and when you say it's always cold, she just sort of gives you a little bit of a puzzled look, but she doesn't say anything, and she says, "Oh, we'll be right back with your tea."
Thank you.
Off she goes,
And in the
and
kitchen, she goes, "There's some freak out there that says it's cold."
some tea for the lad. He's quite cold. So after a while, they'll bring that out to you, and there's a little pot and a bone china cup and saucer. There's a small miniature pitcher of milk, and some sugar cubes and some wedges of citrus. So you can fix your tea however you want it. So are we done with the shopping that everybody needed to do? Or was there any other errands that people needed to run this evening?
Yeah, I'd like to do the other chain to go get a bow and arrow.
Okay, you're cutting in and out a little bit, so I don't know whether it might be your microphone sensitivity. You may want to switch to push to talk. Or did that speak up a little bit? So what did you want to do, please?
I was gonna try and get a other chain and bow and arrow.
Okay, so chain is in chain mail.
So the gold chain.
Oh, okay. Use the chain to try to get a bow and arrow. All right. All right. Sorry about that.
go with
see.
him to the shop.
Okay. All right. So you head over to the shop, and let's see, where's how much is the bow? Okay. All right. You go and you ask about the longbow. Now, when they walk in, are men and the dwarf still there?
Possibly. What say you, dwarf man?
Yeah, I would still be looking around before we have to go back to the inn for the night. I'm just going to trust the town council to appropriately pay us if the prisoner we took before actually pays out.
Okay. All right. So they will. You guys walk in, and it immediately becomes apparent, much to the chagrin of the shopkeeper, that
There's more of us.
yes, that you guys know each other. So he seems to be a little bit disappointed by that, and and so I'm just going to let your knowledge check from earlier sort of stand in for what you know about the prices of things. He goes to buy, or he wants to buy, a longbow, and the guy behind the counter will tell him that what's the arms in it? Okay. He'll tell him that it costs 75 gold pieces, and men would know that a longbow indeed costs 75 gold, and then he can sell you arrows. He has flight arrows, which will do a little bit less damage, but they have a slightly longer range. Or they can sell you sheaf arrows, which are a little bit heavier and deal a little bit more damage, but they have slightly shorter range. And he will quote the price, which Ben knows is accurate, of 3 silver for 12 flight arrows, or 3 silver for 6 sheaf arrows.
Nico was paying attention earlier and mentions, hey, do they have arrows that can knock people unconscious versus just puncture them?
Oh, the blunt
I'm a
arrow.
weaponsmith, so I think there's some sort of blunted arrow.
In my game, what I say is, I say you can basically fashion something, or you can kind of buy something that you can basically put over the arrowhead that will do that. And so yeah, he has those attachments, and those are like 2 copper each. So you can get, however many arrows you get is however many arrows times 2
blunts.
copper. Yeah. So flight arrows have a range, these are the longer range, lower damage, of 70 or 140 or 210 yards. And sheaf arrows have a range of 50 or 100 or 170 yards. And that's when fired from a longbow. From a short bow, all arrows have exactly the same range, which is 50, 100, and 150. So to Archimedes' query, he would know that there's really no way he could trade those chains for a bow because it's like 4 or 5 times what it's worth.
Right.
Now, a short bow is 30 gold. If Archimedes has some sort of applicable proficiency, then you might be able to talk yourself into a deal to, either have to pay very little or perhaps nothing at all if you're trading if you're using the chain to try to help get a short bow. But you're definitely going to have to pay something on top of the chain for a long bow.
I could do the two. I have 2 chains left. That would be those values, and then 3 orcish scimitars.
Okay, scimitar. He will look at those and he will say, "Oh, well, each of those would be worth 8 gold." And
Okay.
Min, that's actually, Min, that's a little bit better than what they normally would go for.
Okay.
So apparently, you have intimidated him into giving you guys a slightly better deal.
And her tail sits there and flicks carefully from one side to the other, very gently, contentedly.
So I'd give him the 2 gold chains and the 3 orcish scimitars for a bow and arrows.
Okay. Yeah, he'll look at that and he'll sort of.
It's only
he starts to say something, and then he looks over at Min, and he thinks better of it, and he says, "Well, yes, I believe we could do that." And then how many? He'll give you either 24 of the flight arrows or 12 of the sheaf arrows.
The sheaf arrows is what I would want, right?
Those deal a little bit more damage. Yeah. Slightly shorter range, but a little bit more damage.
I very much like this merchant's change in perspective.
Well, yeah, I mean, when
that was a bad
you have... when you have a wizard walk in and dazzle you with magic under your nose, it's sort of like, oh, okay, maybe these are people I don't want to mess with.
Yep.
Make some
no
good
messy.
Yeah.
Some really good purchases.
Purchases. So, anybody else want to do anything?
Quint would like to buy a dozen of the flight arrows and a dozen of the sheaf arrows. If there's
Okay.
left.
Yeah. 3 silver for the flight arrows, for a dozen of the flight arrows. 6 silver for a dozen of the sheaf arrows, and that is, Min would know that's the price they ought to be.
Okay. She smiles benevolently at the guy.
Who, yeah, he's treading very carefully as long as this feline is in the shop. All right. Anything else for anybody?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well then, I have 29 after the hour. So let's go ahead and let's take a break. We'll come back after 10 minutes and we will resume. And because we started a little bit late, I'll try to be sensitive of everybody's time, but when we get to our normal time, we'll see if anybody wants to go a little bit longer, or if everybody is able to go a little bit longer. If anyone has to leave, that's fine. We can shut it down at a normal time and resume next session. And I do have an announcement about that after the break. So let me go ahead and move us to Saturday. Hey, viewers, thank you guys for coming and hanging out with us. We appreciate you being here and spending part of your Saturday evening with us. There's a lot of things you could be doing, but you're choosing to spend some time with some nerds playing old editions of D&D. So we thank you very much for that. And I'm going to mute myself and go grab something to drink. And I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Okay, players, before we get started again, need to double check. Archimedes, are you human or are you some other race?
I'm some other race.
So you get night vision.
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna do
The 60
this.
feet.
Yeah.
But you can't tell because I've been burned.
Yeah. Okay. Min has night vision. Garm. Is Garm human? He maybe just stepped away. I know that Nico has night vision. Talon. Does Talon have night? Okay.
No.
And Quint, do you have
He's a half elf, so yes.
half elf? So okay, so he would have that. Let me just double check.
Vision.
Yeah. Well, they're doing some things. I did an experiment for a couple of sessions in the Sunday game, and it just was awful. But it doesn't seem to be as bad in this game. So I'm going to try and experiment with this next part of the story of giving all of the tokens vision and using the dynamic lighting. at least in the other game, it really played havoc with the DM computer just being extremely slow. And so because of all of the different things that had vision on the board and all of the ways that they would cast shadows and everything like that. So if it doesn't work out, I will not use it again next week. I'll do something else. I have found a workaround that helps me more easily reveal sections of a map. Because the Fog of War tool doesn't really work all that well, and the dynamic lighting tool is a nice concept, but it doesn't seem to be really executed very well in Roll20. So, all right. Let me turn the music down. And we're just about done with the break. Hey, all right. So before we go back to the map, viewers and players, a little announcement about next week. There is a home soccer match. I believe it's a home soccer match next week. Let me double check. I have decided that... Oh, no, never mind. It's not. It's a road soccer match. So, next week we have a game just like normal. All right. Today, I was up at 6 o'clock this morning and out with my friends from the supporter group, and we were painting a tifo for the home opener for the soccer team tomorrow night. So we have a 40-foot by 20-foot main tifo, and then a couple of other movable parts of it that will be displayed at the beginning of the match tomorrow at the stadium. So
For
it's good.
MLS?
No. This is for NWSL. So it's the Women's Professional League. We have a couple of people you may have heard of on our team. We have Alex Morgan on our team, and we have Marta, and we have Ali Krieger, and Ashlyn Harris on the team. All of those are people who have, been to and played on gold medal World Cup teams and Olympic teams and stuff like that, either for the U.S. or for Brazil.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
they're all, yeah, they're all part of the local club here. So,
Very
and
nice.
we're hoping that they will have a good year this year after nearly the entire season got scrubbed last year because of COVID. All right, so let's go ahead.
They didn't have the games with cardboard cutouts in the stands?
Not on the women's side, no. On the men's side, they did play the MLS did play an abbreviated season. It was like 24 games instead of the usual 35 games that they have. And it was sort of time shifted. They started in June or July and played through December instead of going from March to November like they normally do. So, I mean, it's just like with baseball where, they had an abbreviated season that was pushed back.
I'm sure that was awful in Kansas City in December.
That would have been no fun. And now this year, because of the Canadian government's stance on things, our stadium here in Orlando is not only playing host to our own home games, but it's also the home stadium through the end of June for the Toronto MLS team, which is weird. So Toronto's playing their home games in Orlando, and because it's actually not a true home stadium for them, Toronto doesn't sell any tickets or allow any fans of any team into the stadium for their home matches. So there's fans in the stands for Orlando City home matches, but no fans in the stands for Toronto home matches. It's weird. Weird.
Thanks, Ryan
all right.
Reynolds.
Yeah.
I mean, they couldn't. There wasn't some place like in Buffalo they could use. I mean,
I think what they
fans.
wanted to do is, it sucks for their fans, for sure. But I think what they wanted to do is they wanted to play in another MLS stadium, because the same thing is happening with Montreal and Vancouver. They are co-located with another home MLS team, and they're doing the same thing. Their home games don't have any fans in the stands. All right. So, back to our game. We are going to go ahead and I'm going to grab this group of tokens here and copy it. And we're going to move the map over here. And for you guys, it's probably going to look like a completely black screen until I put you on the map, which I'm going to try to do right now. Okay, now let's see. No, that doesn't work. Let me check the settings on the Okay. All right. Well, then fiddle faddle. All right.
I've got dynamic lighting on my. I can see perfect.
Okay. Can anybody see if I go? Okay. If I go over here and I bring us down, can anybody see in at least part of the map or not?
I can see the
kinda-
bottom and the left side, but there's the blacked out area in the middle with a tiny bit
All right.
of the town we're showing.
Yeah.
All right. So that appears to be working for you guys. Let's see. Okay. Well, it's just unfortunately, it's not showing. Let me. Oh, I know why. Never mind. Come on, Token. Open. There you go. Now, details. Okay. So we're going to change this to that. Come on. And we're going to put it under that control. We're going to save that. There we go. All right. I forgot. So it's working as intended, but I forgot that for the NPC token, I had to put it under control of my my in air quotes player who is on the streaming PC. So that way the viewers can see the same part of the map that you guys can see. All right. So now that we have that done, Zert will lead you out of town in the morning, just as the gray light of dawn is coming up. And he takes you for a couple of hours out to the middle of, you kind of go north and a bit west from the town. And after you've traveled for about an hour, there is like a game trail that leads off slightly to the north. And Zert will tell you that he has noticed tracks here of bandits, and he followed those tracks back to the Moat house, and that's how he found that. So at that little intersection, anybody want to do anything?
I can hear that we're wearing our armor. We don't have to doff or don anything.
You can, if you want to have been wearing your armor for the whole time, you certainly can.
Yeah, we're armored up and geared up. Yeah.
Okay.
Then you all have noticed I am not quiet.
Okay.
I don't have armor.
Okay, so Zert will sort of look over, and he'll kind of cringe a little bit every time somebody goes clank, 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 clank as they're walking along. But as you come out to this area, you travel about another 90 minutes following this game trail. And you finally come to the edge of the wood. And there's a scrub of thorns, thistles, weeds, and shrubs grows thickly along the edge of the track which leads to the ruins. Even the track is mostly overgrown and cluttered with fallen branches and trees. Here and there it is washed out, in other places it's a mire. Some game evidently still follows the pathway, however, for after a mile or so, faint traces can be seen. But even considering this, going is slow, and it takes 90 more minutes off of the road to trudge here on foot. Considerable hacking and clearing is necessary to make the way passable, and so that will reduce the time going back. After a couple of miles, as the track turns more northerly, the land begins to sink and become boggy. Tall marsh plants grow thickly where cattails and tamaracks do not. Off to the left can be seen the jagged silhouette of the Moat house. A side path banked high to cross over the wetland to either side, just north to the entrance of the ruin. The track here is only about 15 feet wide or so, with crumbling embankments making travel near the edge dangerous. The bogs stink. The vegetation appears dense and prolific, but somehow sickly and unhealthy creepers and vines throwing their strangling loops over the skeletons of dead saplings and living bushes alike. The rushes and cattails rustle and bend even to a slight zephyr, and weird bird calls, croakings, and other unwholesome sounds come faintly across the fen. And so what you see before you, as you see the crumbling walls of a structure. This area here looks like a tower that has actually crumbled in several places. There's an opening in a tower here, an opening in a tower here. There is a causeway of sorts that is here that leads up to, from your vantage point, you guys can just make out what looks like the end of a wooden drawbridge there. And then the walls of the edifice continue in this direction. In this direction to a tower on the west side, which has completely crumbled and appears to be more a pile of rubble than anything else. So that's what you guys can see there. And Zert will tell you that he has seen tracks, booted tracks that go up as far as this fallen tree here. But he has not, since he's only ever been out here alone, he has not gone farther than that tree towards the entrance of the moat house. So what would you all like to do?
Do we take the obvious, or do we scope around?
Well, I can tell you I'm not wading through that stink.
So it's taking the obvious of one, okay?
On the walk here, would we have like inner path and in no way adding to the time because we're going slow, jumping through things? We would have a moment now and then. Would I have seen any like toxic or like beneficial plants with herbalism? So I could potentially either have like a random like aloe, for example, or for burns, or for if we had people with like knives or arrows, maybe something that would like make hurt someone by making them dizzy or something like that.
Go ahead and make a. That's Quint, right?
Nico.
Go ahead and. Oh,
No.
Nico.
Nico's got healing and herbalism.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead and make a herbalism check. See if you can find anything.
I got to use. Did it work? This is my first time clicking
Yep.
the actual icon.
Yep, it did. So, it's an 11. So what you can find is you can find some aloe plants in the, on your way here, where you can cut some of the aloe leaves to have them as a salve. You don't notice anything that has any kind of natural toxins. There are some flowers that if you spend some time preparing, basically a few hours boiling them and then drying them and then taking the powder and mixing that with a couple of other things, you can make some mild toxins with them, but nothing that you could just use straight out of the plant the way you can use aloe.
Then I won't worry about that until on the way back, if we have time and if we're safe.
Okay, all right. Okay, so Zert will point, and just for everybody's benefit, he'll point and he'll say, I've seen the tracks leading up to that fallen tree, but I haven't gone beyond that.
We can light the tree on fire and see what shows up.
I'm going to look around on the other side of the tree, like this area.
I would say our first approach should be kind of a little bit more subtle than lighting a tree on fire. So.
Okay, so Talon, you walk up there. Quint, you walk up there. Let's see.
Looks around the base of the tree that's been uprooted.
Okay.
Does this look intentional, or does this look like just like a natural?
Looks like the tree fell probably as a result of some sort of natural thing, but the
Okay.
fact that it's been cut into sections over here, it looks like probably somebody had the intention of moving it off the path, but for whatever reason they've never gotten around to actually moving it. Looks like this has probably been, there's like hacking with axes and stuff that's evident at this section of the tree that crosses the path here.
Yeah.
All right, so Quint, let me double check something with you. Okay. All right, Quint, make me a tracking check, if you will. Ooh. All right. Oh, wait a minute. That doesn't sound right. Let me take a look. Somehow I don't think that's formatted correctly.
Ooh. Awful low.
Well, non-rangers get a -6 to their tracking check.
Well,
ranger?
yeah, he's a ranger, but it's not tying it to his attribute, because it should be.
Should it be my wisdom score?
I think it should be your wisdom score -2, so that should be a 14 and not a
2.
Not a 2.
Okay.
So I don't know why that's not. Ability score. Oh, okay. So yeah, actually, what you want to do is you want to put the slots 2 in tracking. That's what you want to do. So you want to make sure that the slots represents the number of slots you have, and that the ability score represents what ability score it's tied to.
Okay.
So that's what was doing. So go ahead once you, and then your direction sense. I don't know which one is that supposed to be tied to.
I mean, that's wisdom as well. They're all wisdom.
Okay, so go ahead and change that to wisdom, and then once you get that done, we will go ahead and let you roll. I mean, I'm gonna keep your 1 because a natural 1 is a critical success. But go ahead and roll the tracking again to make sure it's just working correctly.
Let me see if that. No, that didn't. Okay, so I gotta type it in. So. Oh no! Wait, no, there it came up.
Yeah, and actually your ability score is 16. Yeah, okay, there you go. There you go.
Oh, now. There it goes.
Okay, yeah, all right. So I'm still going to give you the critical success because of a 1 is a critical success. Yes, you're tracking. You notice boot tracks. You also notice several other tracks, which gives you a warning. And you are able to look up, and you're able to notice something that could almost be mistaken for some grass, which actually is very brackish water, pools of very brackish water. And you see some creatures that emerge from that water. And those creatures look like this. There are some giant frogs.
I hate these things.
And they look hungry. And they begin to bound in your direction. And so what that means is that we get to roll initiative. All right, so we're going to have our first combat on our hands here in second edition. And I think if you click on your token and then go to your character sheet and click your initiative, it will put you into initiative order. And in this particular edition, the combat is imagined that each side will roll initiative. So after you roll your individual initiatives, we will then go ahead and determine whether your side goes first or whether the monster side goes first. So, all right. So I see Min has her initiative. So everybody else can go ahead. Now let me see. I'm going to grab this. And I'm going to open this one up. And then I'm going to grab this. And then open this one up. Right. All right. So now let's see with the all right, the combat. Where is it? There's its initiative. Okay. So, I will roll once for the
Which
large
under which tab is the initiative one?
should be for you guys. It should be under your weapons tab, I think, or if
Okay.
you're a spellcaster, under your spells tab.
Oh, I see. Thank you.
Because then in this particular edition, each individual spell and each individual weapon has its own initiative factor. So they went from ultra simple initiative in previous editions to probably the most complex initiative they've ever seen in D&D in this edition. And then they finally realized, oh, okay, well, we can just simplify this by having everybody roll their own D20. And make that a thing. Okay, so the large giant frog is going to be a 3. And we'll have a 3 for this guy as well. And then the small giant frog is going to be a 9. Oh, whoops. Because I didn't do this. All right, so then there. And we're going to add turns.
Nico is neither subtle nor fast.
Okay. Yeah, and the other thing that we double check with this is we double check that the Oh, okay. I see. This didn't get added because I was. All right. So now in combat in this edition, in combat, the your rounds in combat here are a full minute long. So you can do a lot of movement. However, you are presumed to only have one attack unless you the ability to have one attack or cast one spell unless it specifically says you can do more than that in a combat round. So you, unlike other editions where you have to be really careful of, well, how far can I move? You can pretty much move from one side of the battlefield to the other in a round. But somewhere in there you take your attack. And the way combat is structured in this particular edition is, let's see, we have the oldest editions of the game said that, you know, there was like phases within the round, kind of like Magic the Gathering, where you had to do a certain thing on a certain phase, and everybody would do that in the same order. But now that there's more individual, I think it's less less important whether you do all of your movement first or you do your action first and then your movement. I think you can kind of split that up however you want. But it's a little bit more freeform in that respect. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and then we're going to find out whether all the creatures go or whether all the players go, and we do that by a D10 roll off. So I would like one of you, and you guys can pick who it is, or if you don't want to pick who it is, I will just name off somebody and roll a D10, and that will be compared to my D10.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I feel I need to.
Okay.
I'm not familiar with that. I mean, I'm familiar with second edition being individual initiative for each creature, not one side goes first.
Oh, okay. Maybe this was the edition where they went. Okay, no, you're right. You're right. I think you are right. Okay, I think in this edition they did put it in just in regular order. Okay.
Initiative is normally determined with a single roll for each side in a conflict. There's also two optional methods where you can do.
Yeah, in first ed you roll the D6 for each side, but in second ed, you everybody rolled the D10. Every creature did.
Okay, so since we're
in the book.
Okay, yeah, and I'm just going to cut you off right there, Casca. Because the optional methods, because we're using the weapon speed and the spell speed, that's one of the optional methods. So that is just that's going to supersede the other. I was mixing the two methods, and because we have this, we don't need to do the other. So yeah, just ignore that. Ignore what you're reading for now, Casca. So we're putting it in initiative order, and the only thing I need to double check is whether low initiatives go first or high initiatives go first in this edition.
I believe in this one, low is good and high is bad.
It's low.
Okay,
when
low.
You add the weapon speed, that increases it. So high is worse than low.
Okay, all right. So that means several of the frogs will go before anybody else. So giant frog number 5. This fellow right here. He is going to make a mighty leap and come over here. And he is going to approach Quint. He's going to get about, let's see, he's going to get about 10 feet away. And his tongue attack has a reach of... What does his tongue attack have in this edition? His tongue attack has a reach of 10 feet, I think, in this edition. So he is going to stand here, and he's going to try to attack with his tongue. So he will do his attack roll. Oh no, I'm sorry. He has to. He has to do a THAC0 first. Find out what armor class he hits. Okay, he hits an armor class 1. Does that hit Quint?
Yes, it does.
Okay, well, he will stick out a long tongue, wrap it around you. It does 5 bludgeoning damage, and then it tries to pull you toward him. And you, I believe, need to do a strength check to see if you can get out of that.
Take the grapple.
I hit the button, but it didn't do anything.
Okay.
I clicked strength under attributes, and it didn't.
Oh, that's okay. Strength and then modifier 0. Submit. Huh. Okay. When you click the strength button, does it give you a little pop-up that asks for a modifier? It should.
Yep, it was hidden behind the other window.
Okay. All right. So go ahead and do that.
0.
Okay. So yeah. Okay. Now that's your dexterity. So try it on strength.
Sorry. Hang on. I was trying another one to see if it worked.
Okay. Yes, you matched your strength score, so you basically are able to shove off this thing's tongue, and it doesn't get a hold on you.
Okay.
So that is that frog. Then giant frog 1 will. Okay, so no, not you are there, and so that means you go down. You go down here. All right. Yeah, giant frog 1. Oh, okay. Somehow I have an extra giant frog 2. Let me get rid of the extra giant frog 2. Okay. All right. So giant frog 1 will then jump over here and get in front of Talon. And he will try the same thing. He is going to try to attack you. And he hits an armor class 12, which will probably miss Talon.
That misses.
Okay, so he's not able to get to you. And then Garm, you are up. Once again, the amount of movement is not as important because you have, you have the ability to move all over the place.
These are 5-foot squares?
Yeah, they're 5-foot squares, but
I'm not gonna
like
move
I
at all
said,
then,
don't.
because this guy's within my short range.
Okay.
I'm attacking him,
Alright.
and I'm throwing darts, and I get 4.
Okay. AC 15, that will miss. AC 6, that will hit for 7 damage. The AC 14 will miss. AC 11 will also miss. Okay. But you do deal 7 damage to this guy with a dart, and he
That
sort
doesn't
of
sound right. I'm specialized, but I don't know what I'm getting another +2 for. So that should really be 5. I gotta look at that. Why it's giving me an extra +2? I am specialized in dart, but I shouldn't be getting any other bonuses. So that's just.
Oh, okay.
That should only be 5 points. I'm sorry, I gotta look at that at my sheet.
No, that's all right. Thank you for double checking. Yeah, because it's 1d4, right? And or is it 1d3?
You know what? Actually, for a large size, it should be 1d2. Let me look at my macro.
Okay.
So
Okay.
the most I should do is 4 points. Let's go with 4, and I'm gonna check out my macro and see what I did wrong.
Okay.
You don't got your strength?
Does strength impact
It does in this edition. It does on damage, but I don't have a strength bonus. So for me, all I should be getting is my specialization bonus, which is +2.
Okay.
Did you take that throne skill? Did that give you a plus?
I did take the throne, and I do have the option to do +2 or +1 damage, but I don't think that's right on that. Let me check my macro. I'll let you know. But either way, I don't think that's right. I gotta look at that.
Okay. All right. Well, so yeah, you did hurt it. And so the thing kind of croaked. All right. And
The
then
frog croaked?
it let out a croak.
Oh, it let out a croak. Okay.
Yes. And Min, you are now up.
Okay, so let's see here. I would like to cast, if possible, sleep on this creature.
Okay. Now, sleep is usually an area of effect, unless
that's right.
it's different in this. So we've got to make sure we're careful about where we're going to put it and what it's going to affect.
Okay, so it says 30 yards.
So 30 yards, that's 90 feet. So I'm sure you're within 90 feet of all of your enemies. You can use a little measuring tool to make sure. So, let's see, sleep. Okay, 30 yards, 5 rounds per level. Okay, so all creatures to be affected by the sleep must be within 30 feet of each other. Number of creatures affected is a function of hit dice or level. Spell effects 2d4 hit dice of monsters. So you would probably want to figure out. Okay, the 2 large frogs are more than 30 feet away from the 3 small frogs. So you'd probably want to figure out. How you could deal or how you could disable the most characters or the most enemies. And so I might recommend targeting the 3 small creatures, because that takes 3 enemies off the board and leaves you only with 2 that you have to deal with. Now, if you're 95 feet away from them, you may have to move up a little bit to cast that.
Is the range of the spell 90 feet, but then it's within the 30 feet of that point? Because I think she can target a point up to 90 yards away, but then the area of effect is that 30 foot or whatever it is.
Right. It's 2d4 hit dice of creatures, and each creature has to be within the 30 feet of each other. So she cannot target because the creatures are so far away from each other, she cannot pick a point that is between the group of 2 frogs and the group of 3 frogs and get all of them. And even if she could, since she can only affect 8 hit dice, that may wind up being, a bit too many to try to affect all of them. So, this is probably a time that you want to play the law of averages and go to see if you can get a smaller group of them.
I was trying to see where my what my speed is.
Oh, like I said, don't worry about your speed because it's a full minute, so you can maneuver around however you want to.
Okay.
And there are no opportunity attacks in this edition, so if you want to go all the way past the first giant frog to get out of the range of its tongue attack, you can do so.
Okay.
All right, so if you go there, then you can. Now, also make sure you're probably not within. Okay, you're standing in water there.
Oh.
That this whole area here is water. So the lighter colored area is water. Yeah, you're on grass now.
Okay.
So you probably want to be there, and you probably want to stay less than 30 feet from these guys, because if you're within 30 feet of them, you count as a creature too. So you probably want to back off 35 feet away from the closest guy. So I would recommend backing off a square or 2.
You can go up to 90 feet, so yeah.
Yeah. So, back up towards your friends a square or 2.
There you go.
There you go. All right. So then what you... I think what you do on your character sheet is, let's take a look at your spells. Try clicking the button that says roll spell effects and see what that does. Okay. All right. It does give you, so it affects 5 hit dice of monsters. All right. So good. To do this. How many hit dice does this guy have? Okay. It has 1 plus hit dice each. So that means that all 3 of them suddenly they just sort of go and they begin sleeping. They begin doing little froggy snores. All right. And Min, actually, because you have a full minute, if you want to then run back to your other friends, you can do that before the end of your turn is over. Okay. All right. Well, the 3 frogs are asleep, so we're just going to skip their turns.
By the way,
And
that damage should have been 6. That was the macro I used was the one where I didn't give myself any pluses to hit, and all the pluses
okay.
so it should have been 6.
All right. So 2. Wait. Yeah, 6. So you started off with that. That's right. Okay. Thank you, sir. All right. So Quint, you are now up. You shook off the tongue attack of this frog, and you are now ready to do something in retribution to the guy.
I'm gonna move back here a little closer to my friends, and I'm gonna shoot that one that tried to eat me with my longbow.
Okay.
And I get 2 shots with that.
Okay.
And I got
Armor class 0. Yes, that
Shot.
that will hit.
the other one.
11 will miss. So go ahead and roll damage for your. I guess it also depends on which arrow are you using, the sheaf.
Yeah, I'm using the flight arrow for that one.
Okay,
Is there a way
so
to get rid of this input value every time, or is that something that's always?
I don't think so. I think it's always gonna.
I was gonna ask.
1 damage.
Do I put anything in there, like for my not for damage, but for like the hits? Does that calculate in off the character sheet to hit? Because like I specialized with the bow, so I get a +2 to my attack, which I have on the character sheet, but I didn't know if that needed typed in for that box.
You get a +3. You're getting a +3.
Yeah, let's see.
+2. So I got it there.
+3 is that +3 from your dex?
I don't have a +3.
Or
I'm
a
not
+3
sure
from your strength?
Not for
I don't have
for
any.
long, not for
Damage would be +3 strength. Your
No, I don't
Your
have
attack,
any.
your attack would be a plus from the dex, right? And
Right.
Right.
and
I don't have any
the damage
adjustments
would
for
be a
strength
plus
or
from the dex.
dexterity.
There shouldn't be any
No.
damage. There shouldn't be any
Strength.
damage bonus for a bow. There shouldn't be any
Not unless,
not from strength or dex.
not unless it's a composite bow, I think.
Oh,
If
okay.
it's a composite bow
Alright.
made from strength, yeah,
Right.
you get your strength bonus on damage, but never for dex on damage. But what is your dexterity?
I don't have a bonus for
Okay.
dexterity or strength.
Did you
Okay.
specialize?
I specialized in it for the bow, so that gave me the point blank range, which is +2 to attack. So my question was, I have that +2 to attack on the character sheet, but when that little window pops up, I don't know. Is there something I'm supposed to?
Well,
type there?
if you
You're
hover,
getting
if you
+2
hover
on
over the, if you hover over the AC 0 in your roll, it says you're getting a +3 from somewhere. So I'm presuming that +2 is
Oh,
figured
okay.
in there, and then there's a +1 from something.
I don't know where's that.
So either
Okay.
your proficiency bonus or your or something else is adding in there. So that's already added for you
Yeah.
through the macros.
Yeah, did you took a proficiency in bows, right?
Correct, proficient, and I
Okay,
specialized.
so then that's where the extra 1 is coming from. So
It shouldn't.
you're getting a plus.
It shouldn't give anything. I mean, the only thing he should be getting is the +2 for point blank range.
Oh, really?
Does it have a dex
Okay.
bonus?
No.
No. Okay, so let's take a look at in his. Oh, you know why? I bet you it's point blank. Because you do have that.
Oh, okay.
You do have that attack adjustment is +2 on the character sheet, so that's being calculated when you click the FACO button, the hit button, and then because half elf.
Oh no, elves get like a +1 for bows.
And that's where he's getting an extra one. Is his race, right? He gets a racial.
No, I don't.
I don't know.
Any
Elves,
extra
half
bonus
elves
for
don't
that.
get one. I don't think for bows.
Oh, I think elves get it.
Yeah. Okay. There's three ranges. There's the short range, the medium range, and the long range. And in the older edition, short range did give you an automatic +1. So I'm thinking that because you have the point blank range, then that's giving you a +1 over and above. The medium range would be a +0, and then the long range would be a -1 on the attack. So I think if you fire at things out in different ranges, you will begin to see those things reflected in your in your attack rolls. I'm gonna roll with that for now. If we find something later on that tells us, we're doing something wrong, we will address
His
it then.
range modifier. There's a button in his on your attacks. At least in mine, the longbow. I have a SR, MR, LR, ER. So
right, and I've got those checked because I've got different lines for the different ranges, so that I can just click on it.
Right. So if you're on the right range, then I would imagine that's doing the macro for you.
I'm good with the extra +1 because it benefits us.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I want it to be right, so I just want to make sure.
And it's a new system or a system that a lot of us haven't played in a long time. So shaking the rust off of that's part of the reason that I think it's fun to go back and revisit these old editions.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So anything else, Quint?
No, that's it for me.
Okay, Talon. Let's go ahead and let you have your attack.
Well, I'm going to swing at this guy with my sword, and then I'm going to back up.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, you can move up, swing, and then back up because there's no opportunity attacks in this edition.
The only good thing.
AC 17, that's going to miss.
I figured so. Then I'm just going to back up here.
Okay. You can move all the way back to your friends if you want to. Okay. Yeah. Great. And then Archimedes. What would Archimedes like to do? Bob, we can't hear you again.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. He's going to go ahead and take a shot at this one right here with his longbow, his new acquired longbow and arrows there.
Ooh, okay. AC of 20, that's going to miss. Because in this edition, AC goes backward. The lower the AC, the better.
That's a 1.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a question. Is the advantage thing before you roll, or can you use it once you've seen your roll before you've described everything?
You mean if you want to use the inspiration? You can use it. You can use it after you see what AC you would hit. So if you wanted to cash in your inspiration and make another attack, you could. Now I think unless there's something different with the bard, I think the rate of fire for a longbow is 2 arrows per round, so you should be able to get another shot.
Anyway, yes, I do. Yes, I do. I do get 2 to 1 as far as
Okay, so you go ahead and make
So-
your second shot. AC 12, that's not quite going to hit. So you would have
then-
the option to cash in inspiration and make another attack to replace that one with the AC 12, see if you can get a better one.
Okay.
No. Okay, so
The joys of being
Yeah.
first level.
yeah, yeah.
Well, it's a
where
newly acquired bow. It's not broke in yet, so that's.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get. I'm trying to get this. The stiffness out of this one.
Okay, you can move if you want to, Archimedes. Otherwise,
Yeah, we're gonna keep at a distance. Yeah.
Okay, Nico, you are up.
Nico
And-
has military training and is going to move up and get into melee with this one. And as he's moving up, say ranged attacks on the other big guy because he knows that he doesn't want to get shot in the back by an arrow.
No friendly fire. Come on.
And then he'll take a battle axe wing if that's okay.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
All right, we go to the right weapon. Battle axe, and this is the to hit one. So let me roll it to hit. There we go. Oh, no miscellaneous bonus. Sorry. Didn't see that I had hit submit.
Okay, 5, that will hit.
And then with the battle axe damage, it's 1d8 for large and normal, so I don't think it changes. They're both the same.
Okay.
No miscellaneous.
7. Okay.
All right.
So you deal 7 points of damage to this guy. And that will actually bloody him. So he's down below half hit points now. And then Zert will come up. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a turn for Zert. I'm going to put him at 18 so that he comes after everybody else. Okay. So, yeah, he comes after.
I like how the dice roller has an exclamation point for damage after the weapon use.
Yeah. Okay, so Zert will go ahead and oh man, his character sheet is screwed up, so I gotta fix that this week. So I'm gonna have to roll with this. And what is his Thaco? Thaco is all right. So, you get a. All right, use that to hit armor class 0. So he's gonna roll a d20. 10. It's gonna hit an armor class of 8, which just barely misses. He's going to make a second attack with his bow. Oh, that'll hit. All right, and he's got some chief arrows. 6. Okay, so now Nico had requested that range attacks go on this guy, so he will hit this guy for 6 points of damage. All right. And we started a few minutes late. We're about 15 minutes over, so I think this is a good stopping point at the end of the round. So we will go ahead and we will pick it up from here next week. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. You have now entered combat in 2nd edition D&D. I know that this first round there was a lot of verifying macros and looking at things, but I think it'll go quicker as we go along. So, viewers, this is the way that combat differs in this particular edition of the game, which is quite a bit different than what you guys are probably used to in the editions that you play on a regular basis. But thank you all for hanging out with us, and we will be back 7:30 next week for our continued exploration of the old Moat house and combat against the giant frogs and whatever other manner of things are hanging around out here. And we will see everybody then. Players, does anybody have any kind of social media presence or anything, stuff going on that you'd like people to know about between now and next Saturday night? Involved in any other streams or gameplay online or anything? Okay, if not, then go ahead.
No, I was just wondering as far as what I don't like other people playing in other games. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. The people playing in other games to let folks that are watching this stream know about.
Oh, okay. No.
Okay, then tomorrow we will not be having a Walker of Waterdeep session because of the soccer game I talked about earlier. Monday night we will be back for another Monster Monday edition. We'll be looking at I think we're going to be looking at the Doppelganger on no, I'm sorry, it's not the Doppelganger this time. It's the Displacer Beast. We will be looking at the Displacer Beast on Monday night and for Monster Monday. Then on Thursday night, we will be back for the 5th edition Sword Coast Chronicles, which is sort of a love letter to the 5e campaigns. In this last session, the party just helped Irina Koliana escape Barovia with her beloved Sergei. And at the very end of the session, that wound up annoying somebody that, well, the party may have been on his radar, but now he's zeroed in on him. So they're going to get to find out what it means to suffer the wrath of Strahd von Zarevich on Thursday night. Then we will be back here next Saturday for another edition of Saturday Night Greyhawk. All right.
So those are all your other streams that you do?
Yeah, those are the other streams that I do. They're here on this channel. So normally Sunday, Monday, Thursday, and Saturday is the weekly schedule.
What was the monster you chose last week? I was curious because I was excited to hear about
the Chimera.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so I did the Chimera last week, the Displacer Beast this week.
Are those archived or anything? Can we go back and look?
Yeah, there's actually on the YouTube channel. There's an archive, and if you're on the Twitch channel, if you scroll down below the Twitch channel, you'll see the links to the YouTube channel there. All right,
what's the Twitch name?
It's Galabon.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. All right, and we are a member of the Game Rebel Network here. So what I like to do at the end of the streams is I like to go and look at see if other people from Game Rebel are playing something, and if they are, we'll go ahead and get them in. Okay. Yes. Let's see. So we have a few people are playing. Okay, we have Webfu playing Mass Effect. So we'll go ahead and we will raid Webfu. All right, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight, and we will talk to you next week, if not before. Good
Nice.
night, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.